Welcome everyone to Awesome Truth, a wrestling book club. I'm your host, Steve Semino, and with me as always is my co-host, Walt Schwenk. Hey, Walters.
Hello, Steven. How's it going?
My friend, it is going very well. We are back on Awesome Truth. We are doing a watch-along, Walt. We are doing our July watch-along. We always try and find a match, maybe not every month, but pretty consistently, a match a month. Something from history, something that was fun and exciting. We actually started doing kind of, I think, bad things at one point. Now we've transitioned to our good match period, where we talk about good matches that everyone likes. And that is going to be for this month, In Your House 16, Canadian Stampede, the main event.
Yeah, those pre-SummerSlam cards, I mean, it's good news for us this year trying to figure out good July matches. This was a pretty easy one to identify. The bad news is I don't know what next year is going to look like.
Yeah, you mentioned this. I think we were batting around ideas, and you threw this out there, and I forgot it was a July. You're your mid-'90s pay-per-view history knowledge is immaculate, and you instantly identified this as a great July match. Yeah, I don't know what other... July is typically a very fallow, boring period, so we are very lucky that you were able to pull this one out of your ass and note it as a really good choice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even... Does July even get a pay-per-view these days? I don't know.
I think what we just had, when we're recording this, we just had Money in the Bank, which was technically a July pay-per-view. So, but that was more circumstantial. I think it really was mid-June, mid-July, like in that sort of nebulous period. Like it was not identified in any sort of month. It was. I mean, it could have been SummerSlam build-up. Like I guess we can talk about that at some other point. But yeah, July is typically, if anything, it serves to set up SummerSlam, and often I feel like it just kills time and kicks the can.
Right, and this is also an era of wrestling where there was one a month and didn't quite know what you're going to get from month to month with these In Your Houses. We are in the In Your House hour. We probably should talk about the match for
Yeah. Well, it was good setup, just the build up to how we made this choice.
We're talking around it a lot.
But you noted to me before we started, this is regarded as one of the best In Your Houses of all time, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And it's a great card. Like, we're obviously doing the main event, which is the Hart Foundation versus Ken Shamrock, Goldust, Legion of Doom, and Stone Cold. It's widely renowned as one of the best In Your House main events of all time, if not one of the best main events, period. And this whole card is wild. There's a lot of, Hall of Famers on it. You got Taker, you got Triple H, you got Mankind, you got JBL. Is JBL in the Hall of Fame yet?
Possibly.
He'll make it for sure. If Godfather makes it, obviously JBL will make it. But regardless, it's a great card. Just a lot of good names and a lot of good matches. But this main is just 24 minutes of I would say it's really unlike anything else in the 90s for sure, and even I'd say beyond that.
Yeah, this was such a just striking gold and from a circumstantial wrestling storyline perspective. Which we'll talk about at length, I'm sure. But just the idea of we just happen to book this Canadian venue at the height of this Canada-U.S. rivalry, two of the biggest stars of all time. It's and Goldust.
Goldust is there. And as you said, as we'll talk about, it's a great example of wrestlers thinking on their feet and rolling with the match as opposed to sticking with the plan. Even though I think in later years it's come out that they anticipated this might happen, but still, I don't think anyone thought it was going to happen the way it did. And they certainly rolled with it really well, and it leads to an incredible match. So let's start this up, Walt. This is on Peacock, of course. It's kind of hard to find. You got to go to In Your House and then look through a bunch of seasons of In Your House, so it's a little clunky to get there. But when you do find Canadian Stampede, it's with the time code is 010351. So go to that, and you will get ready to watch this match. And we're starting off with a promo, Walt. We're going to enjoy the faces talking to us before we get to the match. So, you ready?
Yep.
I'm ready as well. Here we go. Hopefully you're all ready as well at home. 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, there's Doc Hendricks in a cowboy hat. Look at this motley crew of people. It's just, it makes no sense. I love that they're together, but it's wild.
Handsome Doc Hendricks, of course.
Of course.
And yeah, Goldust admits right off the bat, he's like, I was a peacemaker. I put this thing together. It's like, why did you do that again? what was your... I remember it being kind of random before too, when he did put it together. I'm like, "Why? This is kind of weird."
So that's true. Goldust really did put this together, in the storyline.
Yeah.
Wow.
You just said it.
So this is this is a very unique example of, I believe all these guys to some extent have their own feuds going on, and that's why they're all mushed together, right? I don't think it's 1-to-1, but it's close to that.
Well, yeah. Well, I think afterwards, this kind of sets up SummerSlam '97. Then everybody had like a match, and everybody with a Hart Foundation member, and everybody like had a stipulation and stuff. Oh, okay. Stone Cold doesn't even say a word.
Stone Cold had a great look there where he just looked pissed off and like standing there with his arms wrapped at his waist and just not giving a fuck about it.
Yeah, which is great on character work there, where it's just like, yeah, like Stone Cold didn't want to be with any of these people.
Yeah. They already had figured that part out, which is great. Like, he was a lone wolf. He did not care. He'll take the help, probably, at this point. If he's going to have to fight 5 guys, he seems to be accepting he needs to have 4 friends on his side, but definitely not pumped to be hanging out with them in any way.
Right, yeah.
And here's a band, I believe they said, or a singing group called Father's Daughter. Is that correct?
Couldn't be any more appropriate, I guess.
I assume they were 90s Canadian stars. It looks like just 3 ladies in leather jackets and singing.
Western Canada stars.
Western Canada.
Calgary's in Western Canada, right?
I believe so. My Canadian geography is not what it should be, but that sounds right.
Should be somewhere near.
It's not as far west as Vancouver, obviously, because that's about as far west as you can go. But I believe it's in that general direction. Let's look it up.
Yeah, I think
we got time. Father's Daughter is singing. We can skip this part.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Maybe we should have pre-vetted this, but to avoid things like Father's Daughter.
No, it gives us time to catch up on what we're looking at here. Yeah. Let me see Calgary. Because the fans want to know where Calgary is.
Well, it's one of those things where like, oh, yeah, it's in Canada. It's like, that could be the difference between like 10 hours and like 1 hour.
Canada's gigantic. Canada's so large. Calgary is, yes, it's in the west. It's right above Idaho and Montana.
Oh, cool.
Washington, almost Washington State. So it's really far west. Okay, Vancouver is further west, but it's the closest big city to Vancouver, it looks like.
So
you nailed it. Father's Daughter, Western Canada
zone. Father's Daughter was accurate right. From a geographic perspective.
That's right. All right. Is this Howard Finkel in a cowboy hat? They've all got cowboy hats on?
Yeah.
Wow. Vince has got a cowboy hat on, by the way. If you haven't seen Vince yet, because you just went right to this match, Vince is wearing one. JR's wearing one. The other commentator, who I can't tell who it is wearing one.
Yeah.
It is Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler's hat is so comically large, you can't even see his face, which I guess, I don't know if that's a joke or what. But.
Yeah. It's like the David Wright helmet of cowboy hats. Is that accurate?
I think so. And there's Stu and Helen getting their introduction. And there's Bruce next to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce is the one who loves the camera, right?
Yeah, he's the one who pitched the Bret Owen feud only with himself.
And Vince said, hey, how about this guy I have on roster who is actually good at wrestling?
Great idea. Let's use anybody else but you in the family.
Let's use the extremely talented brother and not the shitty one that I do not want to hire.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Also, they didn't really do a good job of setting up the Canadian Stampede as, like, this, like, highly cultural, like, event. It took me many years later to realize that the Canadian Stampede was like this, effectively this giant like farmers like convention.
Yeah, well, I heard
which
that.
Is why they're all wearing cowboy hats.
Like, yeah, it's like it's a whole to do. It's like I think it's a Calgary themed event, right?
It's like a big deal though. It's not just like people are in Calgary and it's like a stampede because there's farmers. It's like no, like this is like Sturgis of like Canada.
When I was 11, I definitely did not get that at all.
They don't really set it up though, and so it's just like, oh yeah, Calgary Stampede, right? I'm like, I guess I don't know.
And that's why they're all wearing cowboy hats, yeah. But there's no, if you didn't know that, which most people didn't, you just think they're all weirdly wearing hats.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Canadian. They call the event Canadian Stampede around the Calgary Stampede event.
Yes, that's correct. But still, but it could just be a name, like it could just be a name of a pay-per-view. Like that sounds like something they would just call it anyway.
Right. I mean, maybe it's a Stampede because it's a 5-on-5 match.
Yeah.
I mean, my 10-year-old self is too dumb to understand any of this.
Or like you said, I think the issue is it's more poorly explained than anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
Ken Shamrock's got some ladies in the crowd.
Oh, wow.
Wow, okay. I can't tell if they're plants or if they are just genuine Ken Shamrock fans.
Remember a time when people used to bring signs to wrestling events?
I brought a sign to Mind Games. I think we probably talked about this. Do you remember this?
Something about... something about...
It said it was a big picture of Mankind that I clipped out of WWF magazine, and it just said Mankind next WWF champion.
Wow, were you rooting for this?
Yeah, I was rooting for Mankind to beat Michaels at Mind Games.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
It's a hot take.
I know, especially for a young guy. Like, I'm kind of proud of that take. I was being a smark before I even knew what it was.
Right.
And then I did not appreciate that match. I think I remember thinking that was a cool match, but I don't think I realized how lucky we were to get that kind of match.
Yeah. Remember that for October?
I think so. I think it was my birthday present, right? November?
September.
September. Oh, maybe it was an early present then. I don't know why. I mean, it was in Philly, so I think that's probably why I got to go.
Was that right?
It's September 96?
Because it's right after SummerSlam where Michaels faced Vader. Because then Vader interfered again.
Yes. I think it was several months after this card. Oh, here's Stone Cold.
Oh my God, looking jacked to the
gilt.
He
looks great. I know.
Yeah.
Like he looks. I mean, he's one of those guys that generally has looked the same for 20 years, 25 years. But here he looks great. It's before he gets dropped on his head. So.
Right. Oh, true.
Which I believe is the next month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the last Stone Cold match before he, breaks his neck and has to change his whole style and just become a straight brawler. But
yeah. This is great seeing quintessential Stone Cold in the mid-90s is like...
He is moving around. Like, he looks great, Yeah,
he's even spry. With the knee braces on.
Yeah, I mean, the knee braces are so cool, though.
He looks the same, though, like, for the most part. He obviously is older, but, like, he looks...
Oh, like look at that! Look at this crowd going nuts for Pillman. It's great they go nuts for Pillman, too, who's not Canadian.
Yeah.
He's just their friend. He's their friend from Ohio, and everyone, yeah!
This is the biggest moment this guy ever had at WWF.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Other than the getting Pillmanized, which was just...
And the gun at his home. That was also kind of big.
Oh, shit, yeah, sorry. All right, I think everything. So.
But those other ones are not particularly exciting. This is an actual in-ring
moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
He looks great, too. Man, I know we've said this a million times on episode 100 episodes ago, but, man, what a guy. What a talent he could have been.
I don't want to be the, like, sad sack.
Are you going to talk about how all these guys are dead? Is everybody dead, but Shamrock's alive? But all these guys are dead,
Brett's
right?
Alive. Stone Cold's alive.
So it's literally Bret, Austin, Shamrock, and Goldust.
Correct.
Wow. Six of these guys
with only
dead.
one of those guys wrestling. Well, I don't know if Shamrock still wrestles, but I don't think he does.
I think Shamrock has wrestled pretty recently.
The TNA, right?
Yeah, I think it was like a real sad. Oh, there's Davey and his. Knowing what we know about all this, it's kind of gross to watch too. Right. All these people would come to sue each other and hate each other and get into so much shit over the next 5-10 years.
God.
And then die, which is really, really sad. But like you said, to focus on the positives, this is about as good as it gets for a lot of these guys, especially in this period of time.
Yeah.
Jim the Anvil never reaches these heights again. Davey probably never really does.
No.
And then Owen obviously Owen goes on to some stuff, and then Bret goes on to some interesting stuff. But
yeah. Right. It's just so funny. This is like everybody's outside of Stone Cold, everybody else. And Stone Cold. Only Stone Cold really, this is the apex of everybody else.
Yeah, pretty close. Goldust, Goldust said, as we just talked about, Goldust goes on to, 20 years later, have probably a little more of an apex, but took a very long time before he can get back to these heights.
Right.
He just dicked around for a couple years and got fired, so... Man, this Owen gimmick is great. Slammy Award-winning Owen Hart was such a good idea. It's so stupid. I just love how dumb and easy it is. Bragging about the Slammies, because they weren't always, meta enough back then to realize the joke that Slammies are stupid, and Owen would be dumb enough to take them seriously and love them,
Right.
It's just a very fun idea. It was always the dumbest thing there. Even when I was a kid, I always hated that. Oh, look at this crowd going nuts for Bret. Man.
Also, he was a multiple-time champion, and the Slammies mean more.
Yeah, he's got. I think he's literally the Intercontinental Champion right now, and he's probably more. He's holding the Slammies up like they're the greatest thing.
Right. Yeah.
Look, they're just soaking it in too, which is great. You can tell they're really appreciating it, and they're aware of. So we should talk about. If you don't know this match somehow, but you're listening to this, like Walt said, it was Canada versus the U.S. Basically, it was Bret versus the U.S. And then his family members got involved and they recruited them all to the Hart Foundation. And then they had this pay-per-view in Calgary, and they sort of anticipated, okay, this is going to be Bret's the heel everywhere else, but he's certainly going to be the face here. What they didn't realize was they were going to be the biggest faces of all time, and get every pop was going to be meteoric and insane, and basically. Very early on, they wrestled the match as babyfaces the entire time, which I think they might start the match I don't know if we could perceive it, but I believe they might start the match in the traditional formation, and then they switch pretty quickly, and they just basically, and Austin and the guys become bad guys.
Right, yeah. I think they made that call in the ring where it's like, oh shit, this isn't good.
We should probably, all the little things the bad guys do, the Americans should probably do it, because we're getting the shit beat out of us.
A very 2023 version of this, I still see Austin getting cheered. It's similar to a few weeks ago, Ospreay getting cheered in Canada against Kenny Omega because people just respect talent.
Yeah.
But nobody in 1997, no one was playing that game. None of the smarks were even oh well. Stone Cold's great still, so I'm gonna cheer him. It's no, they booed him even more.
Yeah, they really got it, and plus, it doesn't hurt that, or it doesn't help Stone Cold, to help in quotes, that his teammates are kind of lame as shit. So.
Right? Yeah, it's easy to boo this team for many reasons.
LOD on its last legs. Goldust, was certainly not a fan favorite at this point, and Shamrock is, I alternate liking Ken Shamrock and having no interest in Ken Shamrock.
Are you reading the subtitles right now, by the way?
Yes. Which one caught your eye?
Well, first off, they noted that someone's doing a documentary of Bret Hart's life, which is funny for a few months later. And secondly, someone, I don't know which announcer, I think it's JR, goes, man, Bret Hart, super cool. That's it. I don't know why he said that, because they were talking about other
also,
stuff.
not the way most people describe Bret Hart back then, was super cool, so... Man, This crowd is so loud. You can my volume is not very high, and I can hear how loud they are.
Yeah, I mean, they I think people who, belabor these podcasts and talk about this ad nauseum, do report that the building was literally shaking from people going nuts.
Which is so fun too, because like we said, this is a good card, and and it's beloved as paper. But this match on paper, if you didn't know what it was gonna be, you'd be like, that sounds so stupid. A random 10-man tag, whatever. Again, we made fun of half these names, and Jim Neidhart sucks, and Bulldog wasn't anything special. There's not a ton on paper. This is not very intriguing or exciting, but they just took and ran with it so hard, and they were just so pumped to support their hometown guys, and it's just so fun to hear.
God, such a catching fire at the right time.
Yeah.
It's very similar to a recent watch along we did with CM Punk in Chicago. Just happened to be that event happened to be in Chicago, and they were able to tell that exact story in that way.
Yeah.
It's can't even produce that because you have to book these venues so far in advance. It's you don't know where the story is going to go. Or maybe they had that tremendous foresight that they were able to say a year before, well, at some point we're going to turn Bret and double heel. It's I doubt wrestling ever operates like that.
Not Vince, not typically. They might claim, they might. The people love to say they had that idea. And maybe I'm sure a big part of it was we have Bret Owen, all these Canadians. We know that we're going to draw in Canada because we usually do, So I'm sure that was a logic behind it. Is we have Canadian stars and they'll be over, so let's go. And it's Bret, it's their hometown, so right. It's a no-brainer in theory to run the event. But I'm sure they couldn't have said, and we're also going to run this crazy-ass tag match that's going to blow the roof off. That would be such bullshit. Also, multi-man tags with no stakes, kind of. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is so stupid. It's for nothing, It's in your house, so I guess. But in your house has had title defenses. They weren't all just total blow-offs. But sometimes though, a fun multi-man tag like this, with a weird circumstance, is better than just putting on a title match for the sake of a title match. Yeah. It's this is just this set the stage for the next 2 or 3 or even 4 months of booking just to set this match up. And again, on paper, it doesn't mean much, but in the circumstance, it turned into such a big thing that
you know, so this is what In Your House is for. Is for a match like this.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, and to build, and like the July pay-per-view should build to the much bigger August pay-per-view. Like that is, they don't always do that. Like it doesn't always work out that way. But it is nice, like you said, that all these guys to some extent are involved with each other going forward for a couple months. That is foresight that they don't always show, but it is very nice to see it happen.
Because this is a match you would not see at SummerSlam because you want the blow-offs and individual storylines with stakes and stipulate, which is exactly what they did.
So what? Does Bret face Taker? Is that what happens?
Yep. And if he loses, he will never wrestle again in the U.S., which is such a stupid stipulation in hindsight.
And Taker wasn't involved at all until then. He's just the champ, right?
Right. Yeah.
Does Taker? You might be too in the weeds. Does Taker act like I'm defending America at that point, or is he just sort of just champ and that's the way
he's just a champ and. But it became more about Michaels Bret, which obviously...
Because Michaels is the ref.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. That's what I thought.
And this is around, like, sunny days.
And does Michaels hit Taker with a chair?
Bret spits at Michaels because he won't count. Or he won't count quickly or something, and then Michaels hits Taker and then has to count or something.
Okay, is he super kick Taker?
No, he hits him with a chair.
He hits him with a chair. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. And then that just moves us on to Michaels Bret, right?
Then it turns Michaels heel, and then it turns into Taker-Michaels feud, which was unbelievably legendary.
Yes, I was going to say. I was like, you can say uneventful or something else.
Yeah. I was trying to find a bigger word than unbelievably, and I couldn't, so I just wrote it back. Did you see Pillman fake tap out Shamrock?
Diabolical Brian Pillman.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, look at Pillman move. So Pillman was okay at this point?
No,
he's just moving relatively well.
He's just on so many painkillers.
Yeah, but he must be in that weird place where the painkillers are actually working and he can put on a little bit of a match.
Right.
He's on there. He probably gets in the ring for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But he did not look. He looked fine-ish there. He didn't look like Flying Brian, but.
Goldust wants to be the IC champion. Gives the.
So weird seeing Goldust just this. I totally forgot about this random period where, because we just talked about Goldust and how good Dustin was later on when he was just playing fake, Goldust in name only and was Dustin Rhodes. Here he's sort of doing that like 20 years in advance, right? 25 years in advance.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
He's just sort of Dustin who's just in Goldust paint. But then he goes back. But then I'm sure he turns heel again pretty soon and goes back to being Goldust.
Or he ever turns heel again.
He just turns weird then? He just starts doing wacky shit?
Yeah, well, I guess in the Attitude Era, the full Attitude, this is technically Attitude, but like 98, 99, like Vince Russo, I guess, had him do some really weird shit.
Yeah, we're dressing drag and all this other dumb stuff.
But then eventually he turns into Tourette, like, I'm electrocuted and I have Tourette's. Yeah. Goldust.
That's way down the line, right?
Yeah, it's like 10 years.
Is that a noise he makes when he's electrocuted Goldust?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know that at all.
Yeah, well.
That sounds terrible.
Talking more Goldust in the last several episodes.
We have. It's good. I like talking Goldust.
I was almost like, oh, yeah, we did that watch-along Battlegrounds. I'm like, wait, we didn't watch that along. We just talked about it a lot.
Yes, we just talked about Goldust in the Dusty episode.
Right.
Yeah, but we made plans to eventually one day watch Battleground. Oh, Hulk almost fell off the top rope.
Jeez.
We should talk about when we were 11. We should talk about Hulk Tommy. When we were 11, I thought LOD was still cool. And I swear someone in a recent book Hulk looks terrible. Someone made the point like LOD was so shot at this point. And now watching it again, I'm like, oh yeah, they were really old and really bad. But I do remember thinking they were still cool when I was a kid.
Yeah, I think it was just like I'm supposed to like them.
And the shoulder pads and everything.
Yeah.
Like they're
they had Sonny at one point. They were teamed with Ahmed.
Yeah.
For a second.
And Ahmed wore the shoulder pads too, right?
Yeah, the Chicago street fight.
Yeah, that's right, of course.
In the worst spot on the think about if you're the match that follows the Bret.
So that was earlier this year then.
Yeah, it was nice. In Chicago.
Man, who was the Chicago street fight against?
The Nation of Domination versus Ahmed Johnson and LOD 2000. Were they 2000?
No, they couldn't have been 2000, were they?
When did 2000 come?
Isn't 2000 with Draws?
I thought this was Sunny.
Oh, is that so? Is what made them they couldn't have been 2096 though, right? Or 97?
Oh, wait, yeah, I guess. Wait, but they weren't 2000 and 2000. No.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about LOD 2000.
That
I'm realizing right now.
Hurt my
I know
head.
Techno Team 2000.
Yeah, well,
but
they were
that's not related.
Yeah.
So they did name things 2000 way before 2000. Techno Team.
Right,
being
they're rounding
the
up. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to look up LOD 2000, I would love. You must. You're right. It was not Draws. It was Sunny that made them that. But that also makes no sense.
One of
they
the
just
many
passed Sunny around
Sunny
between.
manager.
They just moved Sunny between tag teams, didn't they? Just for no reason whatsoever.
A point we made very recently as well.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if we talked about LOD on the Sunny episode though. I don't remember discussing LOD.
We did talk about her kind of lost era where she's just like, you know.
Yeah. Farouk, and Farouk being the worst example
worker.
of just no reason at all why she's
the host of LimeWire. Livewire.
Yeah.
She the manager of like Farouk or LOD 2000. Like, who will know? Or is she the Smoking Guns manager now?
Which at least made a little sense because that was the first one I think, and you're like, okay.
Well, it was the Body Donuts is the first one.
Yes, but the first trade-off, I feel like, right?
There's a Godwin at one point. I thought.
Yeah, that might have been the first one. Yeah. Ugh, it was all bad. Anyway, there's no Body Donnas in this match. There's no Sunny. It's just these 10 guys.
One thing I will say, they also just mentioned Dusty Rhodes on the.
Oh, did they? About how Goldust is his son?
Yeah, son of Dusty Rhodes, American Dream, and versus the son of Stu Hart.
Oh, sure.
A guy who wrestled.
That is weird. They definitely weren't doing that back then. I don't think.
I guess at this point it's like 2 years into the Goldust run.
Yeah, and I guess like you said, they are like that furthers my sort of my point indirectly that this is sort of just like Dustin, you know?
Yeah.
We're pulling the veneer back for whatever reason, and he's not androgynous Goldust anymore. He's just a guy in a weird outfit.
Yep.
Oh, love that missile dropkick. I like that must hurt like hell the flat back missile dropkick, but I always like the way that looks.
Oh God,
just falling right on your cock kicks like that.
Right, and then if you miss it, then it's just like
you just land it right on your ass. Who was your favorite? You liked Animal more than Hawk, right?
I don't think I have that strong of an opinion.
I mean, I think I.
That was a leading question too. Do you like Animal more than Hawk?
I think so, but I don't really remember now. I think like it might have just been Animal looks a little cooler, but he also doesn't even look like now that I'm adult. He does not look that cool.
I mean, Hawk was the one that was like prime for like singles.
Stardom, right? I think Animal was a really shitty worker.
Oh wow, that was
Doomsday.
Oh God, Neidhart just took out Hebner.
This is such a cluster. It's great.
Yeah, this match is so good.
It's just very fun. They're all getting their shit in, and they're all getting wild. Oh, they throw a beer at Stone Cold.
Oh, that was definitely Bruce.
Oh my God, just trying. He's trying to get his shit in. God, I hate Bruce so. For someone I'll never meet and does not matter. Look, he's like trying to get involved. Oh, he is.
Also, I think Austin was like.
I think Austin was really hitting him there too. I think
Austin was super pissed at Bruce because
I bet Bruce was not supposed to do that even.
No, he's definitely going into business for himself.
Oh my God, what an asshole.
Yeah. By all accounts, it would seem, whether you're reading a book, watching a doc, listening to a podcast, it seems by all accounts Bruce Hart is kind of a dick.
Yeah, no matter what. even if you didn't know, like, because when the camera's not on him, you know he's like the camera would have cut to him if he was supposed to do something important, you know.
Well, there was one book that I think we read, maybe the Davey Boy one, where Bruce actually was like considered like okay, or someone defended him at some point and said he was actually okay or something.
Yeah, I can't remember which book. Guess. I mean, I'm sure it's Bret certainly doesn't seem to like him, but it always seemed contextual to a certain extent. Like he just always seemed like he was getting the short end of the stick, and he was always had like a complex about it. Like, and I can get like dealing with Vince is pretty shitty, so I can see Vince being the bad guy sometimes and not always Bruce, you know.
Yeah.
Or Stu seemed like he also did not want to tell his children no ever. So I could see Bruce taking advantage of that and becoming a shittier person by hook of that, by just having a subpar father who probably should have established boundaries a little bit.
Yeah.
So who knows? They all seem like
mistakes were made.
Yeah, mistakes were certainly made. Oh, Pillman butt.
Literally showing ass.
Stone Cold just holding the butt down. He's getting it. This is great. They're all just having fun too, you know. They're doing the silliest stuff.
Oh,
like
wow.
they're just all. It's such a cluster, and they're all running around. Like it looks like a blast.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, sort of, there's no stakes at all, you know? Like, the stakes are, let's have a good time and give these fans something fun, as opposed to, let's, like, do something particular. Like, it seems like it's just a series of low-key, fun spots they're just doing.
This is truly organized chaos.
Yeah. And the crowd loves it, which probably just makes it even more enjoyable to do.
Yeah.
They don't have to build any... They're just building general loose feuds. Oh, he's got a fire extinguisher. Is there no DQ in a 10-man tag? Is that the idea?
Well, I think the ref is always quote unquote distracted.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so he's talking to the other side.
Yeah, so.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna put you on pause.
Okay.
But let's keep it going.
Okay, I'm keeping it going. I'm talking to nobody here. Look at the animal. It is fun to see. I'm talking to the fans now. It's fun to see like Animal versus Bret Hart. That is not a match. Like seeing some of these people next to each other that are never next to each other otherwise. As a kid, I always loved that. I was always just like, wow, I've never pictured LOD and Bret Hart to be getting involved. I'm sure they did at some point, but like infrequently were they near each other. And so that was always really cool, just seeing guys interact. It still is cool as a 37-year-old man seeing those people interact that don't normally interact.
All right, I'm back. What'd I miss?
I was just commenting on it's weird to see like Animal and Bret Hart interacting.
Yeah, right.
Because why would they ever, like, when did they ever touch each other, you know?
What?
They probably did, but just not often.
If you didn't hear the reference I made to, what? It was In Your House, where it was LOD versus, was it
Hart
LOD
Foundation?
versus, yeah, well, it was Bulldog and Owen, and I guess Bret Hart was late, and the ref.
Oh, is that 1-2 Bret Hart?
Yeah. That was the first time they quote unquote touched.
Yeah, that was. So I interrupted the story. That's where Bret's supposed to interfere, and he runs in way too late, and they just call DQ anyway, right?
Yeah, right.
which you always made a joke about. 1-2 Bret Hart.
Which only makes sense with the 5-minute story that preceded it.
Yeah. So is the idea here that Austin and Owen both went to the back for injuries and then come back later?
Well, you know how it ends, right?
I don't even remember how it ends. I guess I'll be surprised. It's funny, though. This is a little, like, Austin... You can tell the Austin character is still evolving to a certain extent. Because Austin would never do that in the future, you know?
Right.
He would never willingly leave a match like, oh, I'm injured. I'm just going to leave the match for a while. Like, Austin would rather die than do that.
Right.
But it's all on purpose of the 1997 story, so...
My God.
God, Jim the Anvil really... you know, may he rest in peace, or whatever. He really should thank his stars every day that he was paired with Bret.
Oh, my God,
like,
yeah.
What kind of career does he even come close to having without? I mean, like, they're a good team. Like, he's a big oaf, and, you know, Bret's the tactician. Like, it's the perfect sort of, you know, big guy, small guy pairing,
right.
But it's still, like, he really is pretty useless.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good balance between the two because they were complete opposites in so many ways, especially, and Bret needed that kind of like partner with a ton of personality because he was developing like his personality back then too. He kind of was like a characterless person.
Yep. Yeah, and Jim, even though he doesn't have a ton of range, he would always play like the big, like, you know, loud, crazy guy, you know?
Right, yeah, which is perfect it was perfect for the 80s, and Bret was perfect for the 90s on.
Yep.
And so it was a nice cross-section of errors.
But once Bret got better, not only at wrestling, but at talking, it was just, Jim was like, okay, you can go over there, you know? Like, you're all set.
Right, yeah,
We're good
exactly.
with you.
Ken Shamrock against Bret Hart.
Yep.
Which was interesting because Ken Shamrock debuted as the referee in the I Quit match.
Yeah, earlier this year, in '97, right?
Yep.
Wow, I forgot that Ken Shamrock was that new.
Yeah, he's only 6 months into WWF's run.
They you know, another example of the UFC. They picked a good guy and got on that UFC train. They didn't always do it right, but like bringing in Shamrock in '97 was not necessarily a sure thing, especially for the way Vince was thinking back then. So that was relatively smart on their part.
And since then, they brought in many UFC people.
Yeah, and to varying levels of success.
Yeah.
When does Dan Severn come in?
Oh, right.
Is Dan Severn here at this point? Has the Lions Den happened yet?
Lions Den was 98.
Okay.
I think.
And the Hart Dungeon was 98 too? It's over, Hart's your winner? It had to be, right?
That was the Lions Den. Oh, no, the Lions Den was something else.
Yeah, Lions Den was that stupid match they did. And then the Hart Dungeon was another stupid match they did. A series of stupid matches.
I think it was next year around this time.
I think that sounds right, yeah.
God.
Davey's looking pretty good, too, I will say that.
Yeah, nice and oiled.
Yeah,
nice
nice and swole. He was, another
He's
guy.
always pretty swole.
Great tights, too, though. I love the whole. That's such a fun look.
The Union Jack?
Yeah. Just really cool. When him and Lex Luger teamed up to become the Allied Powers, I was very excited as a I guess 10, 11-year-old. I thought that was cool as hell, even though that was very stupid.
Yeah. Well,
it was a big deal to put two big guys like that together. Like, that could have been a thing.
Could have been, but instead Lex Luger left the company and
yeah, that's right.
Then did a lot of other stuff.
Yep. Oh, Bulldog.
Oh, jeez.
That was a really
bad Bulldog. Did not take that Bulldog very well.
Classic Goldust Bulldog, just not well executed.
Yeah. Oh, final curtain.
Wow.
A curtain call.
Curtain call, yes.
Such final curtain, damn it.
What does he call it now?
I couldn't tell you.
Probably just call?
No, he calls something else, but he doesn't wrestle enough for me to remember.
No, he certainly does not.
Why would Goldust go to the top rope?
Yeah, that look could have been horrible too.
The thing about Goldust with the bodysuit, it was hard to really tell what shape he was in at any point.
Yeah, unless he's fat. When he's fit, it's very hard to tell he's fat. He looks chunky at certain points. This looks so bad. Oh my god. Jesus. What are they doing? Why are they doing this? Goldust and Davey look so uncomfortable on the top rope there.
Yeah.
They're both very lucky they did not die. Oh, here he comes.
We're going way too quick right now. It's like...
Yeah, and they're doing, like, big stunts. Like, they don't need to do big moves like that.
Yeah.
The crowd's loving it.
This feels like an indie show main event where everybody's just, like, spot fest and, like... In some ways, this is a precursor to...
For 97, Superplex off the top is a very special move, you know?
Right, but they're all just kind of just like taking turns, and I guess I'm just describing what
Austin Bret.
Match.
Here we go.
One thing I'll say is like the sad is part of like the screw job, and of course this wouldn't be a podcast, Awesome Truth podcast if we didn't talk about the Montreal screw job.
It wouldn't be a wrestling podcast in general.
Yeah, fair. Is it took away like this was the match that should have set Austin up for like the Austin run because
oh my gosh.
Bret beat Austin every time they wrestled.
Yeah.
And it was like tailor-made to have like Austin needing to beat Bret to get over the hump and like start being the guy. Versus, Michaels is a big one too, but like obviously Bret and Austin, Bret made Austin in so many different ways that it would only make sense for him to beat Bret to like cement like his like reign or something like that.
I never thought about it that way. That's extremely true, and it's a shame that obviously Austin was out with his neck, right, when that happens.
Well, no, it was just like.
But I'm just saying, but like Austin in Survivor Series '97, Austin wasn't even on the card, right? Oh, he was on the card.
He didn't wrestle again until Royal Rumble.
Oh, he did. Oh wow, okay. I didn't know Austin was back by that point.
Royal Rumble of '98?
No, of Survivor Series '97.
Who did he wrestle in Survivor Series '97?
Is that when Owen broke his neck?
No, that's SummerSlam.
Okay, because he beat Owen Hart in 4 minutes at Survivor Series '97.
Oh, maybe they didn't make good. I
didn't know he was even back already, though. Wow.
He took 2 months off from a broken.
Yeah, that's why. I always forget how short a time period that was.
I think it was a stinger or whatever, but whatever.
I was just thinking, like, in another world where they do Austin Bret, that would have been amazing, you know?
Yeah.
It really would have been the appropriate way to crown.
Well, Bret should have kept the title through the end of the year, early into the next year, and then Austin wins the Rumble, and then that's your main event for WrestleMania, the rematch.
Which probably would have happened had there not been contract shit and everything else, you know?
Well, yeah, and then
because it became pretty clear how big Austin was.
Yeah, right. I mean, they still could have done Michaels Austin, I guess, in that weird parallel universe, but that would have. Bret Hart would not have wrestled the main event against Austin that year. Like that doesn't make sense. It just
would have been so perfect.
Then again, I guess the whole Austin Michaels Bret dynamic is it's all up to Vince anyway. So
yeah, but it would have been fun though. It worked out great no matter what. But
yeah,
it is a shame we never got the full blow off to that.
Yeah, true.
Austin just didn't explode until So I imagine I don't remember Survivor Series '97, but I imagine. In the months to go around there, Austin was really getting huge.
Yeah, back then too, they would have just hot-shotted Austin.
God, Bruce again? Oh, this is Stu. This is a spot. Oh, here they all come.
Oh God, Bruce couldn't wait to jump the fence.
Yeah, but this is at least that was supposed to happen. I assume when Stu gets involved.
Oh God, Hawk is. Fighting Bruce.
Is Hawk just being the shit? Maybe Bruce wasn't supposed to be involved. Oh, was this it? Wow.
There it is.
Schoolboy. Oh, Shamrock being the shit out of Bruce.
So the match ends, and then, people are just going nuts, but there's no, announcement or bell.
So now they just fight for, 10 minutes?
Yeah, now it's just
Wow.
Shamrock just kicks Bret in the face.
How many Hart family members get in the ring? There's one of them right there.
It's Dean. I don't know.
Animal just double axe handled the shit out of him.
Oh,
there's Bruce again. Oh my God.
Yeah. If nothing else, remember that this is the match Bruce Hart got all his shit in. He got all of it in.
Well, I will say that is, there's some really good spots in that match, and obviously the characters involved are super fun, but it is very much like a vibes type match, It's like you just feel the enthusiasm and the excitement, and the crowd is so good that it makes the match that much better by comparison. It wasn't like there's a ton of unique, exciting things happening. It's a match that should have been 3.5 stars and goes to 5 because everyone's just so into it.
Yeah, and also noting that Stone Cold took the pin here.
Yeah, for no reason. There's so many guys that could have taken the pin. There's so many scrubs on that end that could have taken it, but it's let's have Austin lose.
Literally everybody else in the match could have taken the pin.
But it's also, then that sets up Owen Austin even more, I guess, right? So it goes somewhere, but it is not the way they usually do these things.
No.
Yeah, they didn't. The crowd's going, man, they were like...
Oh my God, the crowd is
throwing shit at them, freaking out. I can't tell if things really got out of hand at a certain point, or if that's part of the angle, because they didn't do stuff like this a ton back then,
Yeah.
Why? The fact there's that many people in the ring, I feel like they might have said let's go down there and make sure everybody gets out of this unscathed,
Yeah. Because I saw Pat Patterson's around. Too.
Yeah. I also wonder if Bruce and them are being such assholes. You know what? These Hearts might literally just get involved if we don't send someone down and just move everybody out of here.
We'd probably have to listen to the Something to Wrestle With podcast.
Yeah, from a million years ago. I'm sure Bruce and Conrad covered this in detail that I do not remember.
We don't offer that kind of insight. We just talk about it.
It is fun, though. Like we said, it's great that they realize what's going on and run with it so well. It's great to see the crowd so pumped. And the bittersweet thing is it's great to see all these guys unfortunately, they didn't know it one really last moment on top,
Yeah.
This doesn't work out. Oh, wait, Austin's back. And he hit Jim. He's being a shit at Jim Neidhart.
Oh, my God. Oh, Bruce is...
Oh, my God. That's great Austin right there. Okay, they clearly know. Oh, that's exactly the thing Austin would do. I don't even care that I'm going to get the shit beat out of me. I'm going to run back down and get my one big hit in, and then you can beat the crap out of me.
Bruce.
God, they're all...
The refs are trying to hold him back. Dude, you're not a part of the show.
Yeah, and you're not a character who's going to come back next week, so no one cares.
Yeah.
You are not involved. You're lucky we let you be on camera.
You're not coming on Monday. Sorry, dude.
Look at these sick Canadians, said I think Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, it was definitely Jerry Lawler.
Wow. All right, should we call it?
There is a moment later where you get to see like all like the kids, and it's like
The Hart kids or just the Canadian kids?
the Hart kid. Well, no, I mean the Canadian
Like all their children.
Athena and like Harry Jr. And
Oh,
I think
and
Teddy was there too, and Natty.
Natty's there, yeah.
I mean, we might have to wait another several minutes, but
This is such good Austin, though. I'm very like, it's just I find it very hard to tell in like the '90s when Austin becomes the Austin we know and love, and this match going up here like it didn't feel like it was fully Austin, but now this part is obviously very fully Austin.
right.
Austin being taken out.
Someone
in
just
handcuffs.
kicked him in the head.
Yeah, they're taking all these cheap shots. What are they doing?
He's like actually livid.
Yeah, he's
like,
probably
I'm
fucking
sure.
pissed. They're just all beating the shit. I was giving double middle finger.
Oh my god.
Yeah, man, it never crossed my mind what you said until now. I can't stop thinking about it. If they had got to keep the one thing Bret would have been good for in the Attitude Era for sure is bringing this feud back, especially in Canada, over and over again. You know.
Yeah, totally.
Bret would have felt out of place so frequently in the Attitude Era, but if he could have hung around and did a couple things like this, it would have been so cool.
Yeah, I guess Vince Russo would have eventually just ran Bret off with creative differences, but like yeah, just to have that one moment of where he headlines WrestleMania and pans it towards Austin,
and
like,
a moment and like a post that moment where you know champion Austin is in Canada facing challenger Bret or something, you know.
Yeah,
and Bret's getting that like final sort of hero's welcome and they switch roles one more time. That would have been great.
Yeah, instead we got a bunch of bullshit where the Bret joins the NWO and fast counts.
And Goldberg kicks his fucking head in.
I'm not quite sure what else happened.
But yeah, this is very cool to see though.
Yeah. July's greatest wrestling moment.
I don't know. Oh, there's Harry, I think, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and there's somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know the Hart children that well. I know Harry. I know Natty.
I wonder if Martha. Oh, that's Oj, obviously.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, poor Owen.
He's holding an action figure too.
Is he really? Oh, he's holding an Owen action figure?
Yeah.
Little kid bringing an action figure to the event is pretty great.
Right.
Oh, there's Bret. There's Jim hugging some people.
That's
Bret.
Tyson, right? Oh no, that's Bret's kid. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think Tyson is part of this, right? Isn't he?
Is he? Was he? Did they know him already?
I thought so. I don't know.
There's another
Maybe.
little kid. Is that? Oh, that's Oj.
Athena.
There's
Martha.
Yeah,
My God.
Martha with a cowboy hat on. Oh. Helen
Yeah.
slowly walking into the ring.
Okay.
This is why it takes so long, because Helen and Stu have to walk into the ring.
Yeah. Okay,
All
now
right.
it's starting to get kind of sad.
Yeah,
though.
let's call it.
Yeah.
Well, arguably the best July match ever. If you have a better July match, let us know so we can hold it for next year, as Walt said. But really good match, and I think very worthy of just a fun snapshot into, like we sort of hinted at without saying it, like this transition period from the New Generation to Attitude 2, you know?
Yeah.
Like maybe the last New Generation match, arguably, like one in that vein of they start phasing out the in your house brand pretty soon, and they start moving. Austin becomes the guy real soon. Like D-Generation X starts soon. Like things change really quickly after this.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a such a time and a place. Just the idea of this whole family coming in, like, when is that ever going to happen again?
Yeah.
Like maybe with the Usos.
Yeah.
The Usos having this hero.
The bloodline is the closest thing we're getting to this ever again.
Yeah, probably. I mean, who else?
But it is. Oh, we actually made it to the end. Wow. But it is.
Ground Zero would be the next in your
God.
house.
I don't. What happened at Ground Zero? Tell me. Do you remember?
Patriot versus Bret.
Wow.
Michaels,
Patriot gets the next title shot?
Michaels.
Add it in your house.
Yeah.
Okay, you tell me let's before we go. I'm gonna go to the Ground Zero card. You tell me what happens, okay?
Well,
so the main event is Patriot Bret.
No, the main event was Taker Michaels.
Wow. Okay.
First time ever.
So Patriot. Wow. Okay.
This is a string where Bret was like the penultimate main event or the second main.
So this is when Bret was in his CM Punk period, huh?
Yeah.
Where he
You
never
say
gets to
that.
be the main.
Yeah. Wow, that's a great comparison, actually.
So, wow, the Patriot gets a ton. That's so sad. Just because of the Canadian American angle, right?
I guess
They just needed some American, and they made up some guy, and he got a title shot 2 months later.
In Your House, season 3, episode 5. No one really knows the rules.
All right, what else you got? Can you name other matches on this card? This card sucks.
I would have to say there's a Pillman Goldust match.
That's correct.
Potentially.
Yeah, the opener looks like it might be the blow off.
Right, because Pillman had to wear a dress or something like that.
I think Marlena turns on Goldust, if I remember correctly.
Right, yeah. Wow, what else was there? Maybe there's a Vader Mankind.
No. Vader and Mankind are not on the card.
Not on the card? Wow.
There's a 4-way elimination tag match.
Okay.
The Headbangers are there, so that's how you know we're getting to the Attitude Era, too, is the Headbangers have arrived.
It's where my memory betrays me.
There was probably the end of the Nation Domination breakup feud. There is Salvio defeats Crush and Farouk in a 3-way. So I have to imagine that's the Nation Domination has disbanded feud, right?
Probably, I would
Los
have to say so.
Periquas. And then there's the amazing match that we all remember: Brian Christopher defeats Scott Putski by countouts.
Great! I can't wait to do the Scott Putski, Brian Christopher.
If we want to do the shortest watch along of all time, we'll do Brian Christopher, Scott Putski in September.
Yes, I'm so excited.
In front of 5,000 fans in Louisville, Kentucky. That's a really bad crowd.
Yeah, Kentucky, home of
my wife.
Friend of the pod, yeah.
Yeah. But 5,000 fans, yeesh. The Patriot cannot draw shit, huh?
Well, if it wasn't going to work in Kentucky, I don't know where the Patriot was going to ever really work.
That's correct.
No offense to Kentucky.
Well, Walt, it was great to do another watch along. Great to watch an actual good match again. And we'll be back in August for another watch along. We'll be back in 2 weeks for more good stuff. If you want to listen to other episodes, previous watch alongs, everything we've ever done is all available at awesometruth.libsyn.com. You go subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we are there. All of our new episodes every 2 weeks. And then you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AwesomeTruthPod. Walt, great to talk all these good things with you. Great to recap 97. The wrestling historian and you gets to come out, and you get to remind me of a bunch of shit that I don't remember. So
I covered a lot of ground this episode.
We really did. We packed a lot in.
I truly appreciate us.
We should just watch 97 matches. They're just it's our wheelhouse for sure. It's your wheelhouse in particular.
95 to 97 is just like
it's your bread and butter.
Chef's kiss of.
Even if it's dog shit, we found a good one here. The other ones are crap, but still very much your thing.
Yeah, even in its worst, it's still kind of okay.
Well, we hope it was your thing as well, fans. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, the truth will set you free.